It's so true for me. I have days where I get out of bed in the morning and I'm like, I don't feel like moving. Things are stiff. I mean, I am older, so I do get stiff joints. Things hurt sometimes. I don't feel energetic sometimes, but I still go downstairs and do my abs every morning. And getting the body moving and the blood flowing and the oxygen going, it loosens up those joints and I feel better. It's only 10 minutes.
Granny Guns, Marlene, you are a story of inspiration, dedication, resilience, and I'm honored to be able to have the opportunity to talk about your story and bottom line, what got you so jacked? And you are just an inspiration. I saw you on Instagram, I don't know, a while ago. I was just like, this woman is awesome, and I've got to have her on. So, Gran, welcome. And
thank you.
Tell me a little bit about why you do what you do and why you got into bodybuilding and just your story.
Well, I started exercising when I was 58. I had some health issues. I wasn't healthy. I was weak in my legs. I have horses. I walk down the field to feed my horses every day. And I was feeling really fatigued and not having a lot of energy, and my legs were giving out on me. And I thought, this isn't good. This isn't healthy. And I didn't want to get old and not be able to do these things because I love my horses. So I started working out at home. My son showed me a video of a woman that was exercising. She was in her 70s and she was really jacked. She was really something. She was impressive. And I thought, well, shoot, if she can do it, I can do it. So I started working out at home, and I started out with Beachbody. Their programs like 21 Day Fix with Autumn Calabrese, which I still do her abs every morning. And I did Sagi Kiev, I don't know how to say it. Muscle and Strength and Body Beast and Sean T. He had dancing to videos, and it was a lot of fun. And I progressed through a lot of their programs. It took me a couple of years, and I got to the point where everything was just too easy. And my son had started going to the gym, and he had transformed himself from literally a couch potato to a phenomenal physique. I mean, he had started working out and he lost weight. He got in good physical condition, and he suggested that I go to the gym because I kind of mastered the things at home. And I was a little resistant about it because I didn't want to leave my little living room and go exercise in a gym full of people. I thought I'd be a little self-conscious, uncomfortable. And I was a little on edge about it a little bit. But it was so much fun. It's so much of a challenge. I got used to the people. I got used to doing my own thing in the gym. And I have progressed now to the point, this is where I'm at. And you can't keep me out of the gym. I love it. I go 7 days a week, and I still do my abs every morning. And it's fun. I enjoy it. It's a challenge.
And what got you to sort of take that first step? Was there a call to action that happened that said, you know what, something's got to change. I need to get strong, or is it?
Well, the fatigue and the lack of strength and energy, and I had an eating disorder for a long period of time, and I think I had maybe worn my body down. So not only did I have to start eating properly and exercising to build strength, because I didn't want to deteriorate. I didn't want to go downhill. I wanted to go uphill. I wanted to get better. And I also had surgery at that point also because of my eating disorder. That kind of was a turning point. I had to stop drinking like Diet Coke. I was drinking a lot of that, and I wasn't eating properly. And obviously the eating disorder had really deteriorated my body a good bit. And after the surgery, it was like, well, I got off the Diet Coke because I didn't have it in the hospital, so I had to quit. And that was kind of like the turning point. It was like, exercise is good. It's healthy. It builds muscle. It actually made me feel better. I mean, even though I was worn out. But I also had to learn how to eat properly, to nourish my body, to give my body the energy that I needed to do the exercise that I enjoyed so much.
How was it? Was it difficult to sort of relearn a healthy relationship with food after years of kind of having a disordered outlook on it?
Yes, it was. It was very hard to learn to eat so many meals a day, eat the proper foods. But after a period of time, after you get into that routine, you feel better. You can feel the difference and you have the energy. And I mean, your mind works better, your body works better, everything works better.
Personally, I get tired of feeling like I have to double check every single ingredient when I go to the grocery store. That's why I'm a fan of Thrive Market. So I put a link down below for 30% off all of your groceries through Thrive Market with your first order. So Thrive Market makes it so you can sort by different diet type, you can sort by food category, all kinds of things, and do your grocery shopping online, and then it gets delivered to your doorstep in a couple of days. It is by far the easiest way to shop, but most importantly, it's easy for me because I feel like I can trust the ingredients. What they focus on is sustainability. They focus on quality. They focus on making things available when a lot of times the right foods aren't available. You go to the grocery store and you have to sift through dozens of products to find one thing, and then you finally look at the ingredients and realize, I can't have this anyway because it's got garbage in it. So that's what Thrive Market's all about, and that's why I stand behind what they do. So that link is for 30% off your entire grocery order and a free gift, and then it gets delivered to your doorstep. It's the most convenient thing, they're trustworthy, and it's good food. It's foods that are things that I would typically eat. Plus, I don't have to go to the grocery store, run into my neighbor, have to talk forever. It's just super easy. So check out that link down below, again, for 30% off plus a free gift from Thrive Market.
We have sort of a mutual friend online, Bill Maeda. He's 55, and I interviewed him, and he's an amazing person. And he describes that as when you eat something, feeling this burning glow of energy. He described it in a really eloquent way, and as a way that I had never really heard it described. Very similar to how Laird Hamilton, when I interviewed him, described it. It was just like you change this relationship with food from being like this binary thing of like, okay, simple calories, I need to restrict this, and have a disordered outlook on it, to I need to eat this, and it's truly giving me power. It's giving me energy. It's giving me this fire. And I think that's been helpful for a lot of people. And a lot of people that I talked to that have kind of overcome the eating disorder side have had to reframe how they look at food as truly energy versus this almost transactional binary, calories in, calories out, simply put, and not really focus on how does this make me feel? To give me the energy to do the things that I love to do.
Right. When you get into an eating disorder and you're watching calories, you restrict yourself so much and you're depriving your body of the nutrition it needs. I had to learn that the hard way. I really did. And now that I've gotten into bodybuilding and eating properly, I see the difference, and it is so much better than any kind of eating disorder you may have.
Yeah. What's before we get into sort of the specifics of maybe your past and what's driven you to be you're an incredibly resilient person at any age, let alone at your age. Like, we just trained together. You train like a beast, like you push it. It's just amazing. Like, you actually push to failure, which is just, we could get into the nuance of the exercise science and why proximity to failure is so important, yada, yada, but I was just impressed, right? So you're an extremely resilient person. Before we go down that route, like, to ask, you're 68 years old?
I'm going to be 68 in a couple weeks, yeah.
I have to ask, and people are probably wondering, you've become pretty uber famous on Instagram. Like, what is it like to be 68 years old and all of a sudden, like, the people are probably recognizing you, you're famous on Instagram. Like, what does it feel like? Does it feel unreal? Does it feel weird?
It's still like, I'm getting more and more used to it. At the beginning, it was like, really? I'm just a normal person like anybody else. But after a period of time, I'm beginning to realize that I am out of the norm. I am different. People don't do this at my age. So I kind of stick out, and people do recognize me, and they do realize that, my gosh, look what she does at her age. It's amazing. I've had kids come up to me in the expos, and we're talking like teens, 20s, and they're literally shaking because they want a picture or they want an autograph. And I'm like, guys, I'm just a person like anybody else, but I understand now that I am a role model for those people, and that is why they are so excited to see me, because I have become a motivational, inspirational person to them, and that's what gets them going. And I feel good to know that I am helping them get on a healthier path in their life.
You never know, especially with the younger generation, as distorted as society can be right now, like, who's lacking a mother figure in their life, right? Or truly. And like some of these kids that are probably in their 20s, they may not realize it, but they probably see you and you fill a little bit of a void for them, and you give them some hope and being like, this is cool. This is sort of, not that you're replacing their mom, not saying that, but they get this feeling of, wow, you know what? Like, cool, I'm on the right path. Like, this lady's doing it. She supports what I'm doing. Like, and frankly, you're probably helping keep kids clean too. Like it's you may not realize the impact that you're having on a younger generation, because they can look at young jacked dudes all day long on Instagram, and it's going to fill a certain vanity bucket with them. But when they look at you, it fills a different bucket. It fills a bucket where like, I want to do this for a long time. I want to be strong. I want to be resilient. It's not just about being however jacked you could possibly be. It's about being able to do this for the long haul. So you're incredibly inspirational, to me for that too, just because it's just, okay, cool. There are people like this, and you give me hope that like, hey, okay, there's people that are older that are still wanting to do this. But let's get down to, what's really making you tick, right? Because you are an anomaly, and it's kind of sad to have to say that you are an anomaly in society, that a lot of people that are north of 50 just resign to the fact that they're older, retired, and go off on that tangent. But there's clearly something that's different about you, and you've had to overcome some pretty serious things in your life. And I do want to double click on that for a little bit, because I think the resilience that you build in life is directly translatable to the resilience that you build in the gym in some ways. And it's almost, the gym can be a metaphor for life in so many ways.
That's probably true. From the time I was a kid in high school, I strove. I was the oldest of 7. So I was like a role model even against my siblings. I had to set an example. I was a straight A student. I all the way through high school, and like top of my class. And I graduated in the top 5% of my class. So I was a striver from the time I was a kid. Maybe it was because I was trying to impress my parents and show them I could do a good job. But it was deep down inside of me that I wanted to do the best I could do at that time. And I went into college, and I didn't do so good there because I left home. And, you get into life and you just survive after a while, and pay bills and get a job and just keep going. I didn't finish college right away. I kind of lost my drive there, but I got married, and then I had kids, and you survive, you go through that. And then I had a divorce, and I got a second marriage, and they were both abusive husbands, and they both tried to tear me down. The first one threatened to kill me and bury me alive. It was pretty traumatic. I was living in fear with my first husband, and I was determined, thanks to a neighbor next door, not to let him destroy me, because I saw actually how he destroyed his first wife. Mentally, the woman went into a mental breakdown, which was really sad. And she was my friend, and it was kind of sad to see that. And I thought, oh, shoot, that's not going to happen to me. He tried, but it didn't work. I got out and got a divorce and took care of my kids and raised them, fought for 10 years for a divorce and support and alimony, the whole bit. He was an attorney, and it was a tough battle, but I didn't give up. I kept going, and I succeeded. And my kids are, they were healthy. They had a home roof over their head. They had plenty of food. They had clothes. They had school. And he was not even a very good parent to them when he had partial custody of them. He was even abusive to both my kids, and it was sad. But we moved past that. We got past that, and they grew up, and they saw what was going on, and they kind of weaned away from their father. And I got married a second time, and the second one wasn't any better, unfortunately. He was a bit of an alcoholic. He was a philanderer. That didn't last very long. I ended up fighting him also. I mean, he literally beat me up one time physically. And that was probably the first time I'd ever been physically beaten. The first one mentally tried to break me down. The second one physically beat me. And because of my kids, I stuck it out for a little bit longer, but not very long. And I left him and fought him for another 10 years to get a divorce. It was tough. but I didn't let them beat me. I didn't ever give up. And through the second marriage, we had acquired real estate. We had rental properties. I ended up buying my house that I have now. We had 2 businesses, and all of those things had to be dispersed in the divorce. And that was a battle in itself. I managed to maintain what I had acquired, which was one business, an auto repair facility of all things. I ran a garage. I fixed cars of all things. Yeah, this female was working in a garage, and actually I can diagnose a car pretty good. You'd be surprised.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I did it for 13 years before I ended up shutting the business down. And he ran the bar, and he ran it into the ground. He lost that. He lost all his real estate to bankruptcy because he didn't pay his bills. I had handled all the finances when we were together, and apparently he didn't do that on his end. So he lost everything. I managed to maintain the business, and I still have my house, pay my bills, and I mean, I just never gave up. Wasn't going to quit on anything. So I kept going. Then, I got into, we had the eating disorder, and, after a while, I just shut the garage down about a year ago. So it has not been that long. And during that time, the last year that we had the garage, I had started working out with Ryan at the gym, and we had started my physical journey, and now that we shut the garage down, now we can focus on social media. I can focus on getting better. I can do my exercises. I can compete again, hopefully one more time. And hopefully I can help people more. This is more of a full-time position now to help people out there see that you can get through anything if you put your mind to it. You can't let people tear you down. I didn't. I mean, they tried, but I just bounced back. I just wasn't going to let them do that. I wasn't going to let them destroy me. And I tried all along when I was in school to be the best I could be. I tried to be a good wife. I just had the wrong husbands, I think.
Just continued.
That was just, they just were never content with what I did for them. I mean, I ran businesses, I ran a farm, I did all this stuff for them, but it wasn't enough. I tried my best. I also, when we had the garage, I did do some drag racing. Believe it or not, yeah. Riding horses, drag racing. I was in college as an artist for art, and I did very well there. Not to mention, I had both of my sculptures in a show at Studio Arts in Pittsburgh. They had a end of the year show, and both of my sculptures were the main features. So I was really good at a lot of things I did. And drag racing, I didn't do too bad. I went down the drag strip at about 120 mile an hour, and it was a 8th mile track. Yeah. Yeah. In second gear.
That's quick.
I forgot to shift.
What were you driving?
A Mustang.
Yeah.
A souped up Mustang.
5.0 or an older one?
It was an 82 with a 5.0 engine in it. Yeah.
Fox body Mustang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a 2020 GT500, and then I've got a 72 Nova with an LT4.
LT4, that's a powerful engine.
Yeah. So you're a fellow gearhead here. And I think that sometimes you're clearly a very strong woman, and that can be extremely difficult for a lot of men, to the point where they probably have to feel this need to control, and a need to step up and unfortunately become abusive in situations too. And without knowing all the details, I just know from your activities and who you are as a person that you're a strong woman, and that's very threatening for a lot of men that perhaps don't have the confidence in themselves, right? And
do you think that's why they were so controlling?
There's always that, right? It's because you're trying to control something. If you don't feel like you are in control of yourself, mm-hmm. or you don't feel like there's truly that self-soothing or self-love and self-confidence in yourself, you're going to project it onto others, because that's the only way that you feel like you can gain control, right?
Oh, I know there was some projection with the second one. That's for sure. I remember that.
And it's stuff. My wife is a horse gal herself, mm-hmm. and I know, been with her since high school, and it's she's a strong woman, but that is also what if you embrace that and you appreciate that, it makes for a really cool relationship, because you can both be hard charging and you can both, and I think what happens sometimes is men feel like there's a masculine role that gets assumed when a woman is strong, and it makes them step into more of a weaker position. And for most men, when they're backed into a corner in this weaker position, they puff up. It's just like an animal that's cornered, right? So it's you and I both know it's not strength, it's weakness when a man is abusive, right? That's not operating from meekness and true calm strength. That's operating from fear and control. Control,
power.
It's and that's a terrible situation to be in. And it's I'm just glad you got out of that. And it's glad that you found something that was able to give you direction. Because did the eating disorder come along after that? Do you think that was sort of a rebound, almost coping mechanism to, like, you get out of these abusive relationships and sometimes it's like, okay, I don't know which way is up, and you start finding something that you can sort of control more, and that's a lot of times your food. I had an eating disorder when I was a kid, and it was a lot of times it was just it was a coping mechanism for me. It felt like something that, okay, I can handle this, I can control this. And this is the one thing that makes me feel safe because I'm in control of what I can eat. How do you think that came to be with you, or did you battle with it for a long time?
I think I battled with that since I was a kid, actually. Yeah. I was always real self-conscious of my appearance when I was in high school. And I was a swimmer and a diver in high school, so I was athletically fit. But I was very introverted as a child. And even in high school, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was on a swim team, I was on a diving team, but there was not a lot of social environment for me. And I was very shy. And when I left home and went into college and was on my own, I think maybe that's when I developed the eating disorder, because I went through these phases. I was a bulimic. I would binge and then get rid of it. I also went into anorexia. Now that's probably more when I was with my second husband, because he was real thin, small guy. And my first husband was like a football player. He had been playing football. He was big and stocky. And so we ate, and I cooked a lot for him. And I was a little bit on the heavier side. But when I got with my second husband, it was an image thing. And we were in a bar. I was in front of people. I wanted to look good. So that's when I got into the eating disorders more so than anything, and the anorexia, like not eating and Well, I didn't exercise so much because I couldn't. I was working the bar, the garage, taking care of the house, taking care of his farm, taking care of the house with all my animals. So I was constantly working. But I got into the anorexia also. So just not eating, just depriving myself, trying to fit a mold where I thought he would be satisfied with me, but that didn't work either. So, that was a tough battle.
It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself to try to be responsible for somebody else's happiness.
Well, and I think, like you said, with the eating disorder, and it was a mechanism for me to be able to control something because everything else I couldn't control.
For sure.
All I could do was control myself. Yeah. That's all I could.
It's a story with a lot of eating disorders. It's definitely, when you get down to the brass tacks of it, it's something that it's a safety. I feel safe here, even though it's not safe. And people that are in that mindset, they know it's not healthy. They know it's not good for them.
Right.
Like, it's not like, people aren't stupid. They do this and they know this is like, I feel safe here. I feel safe. If you're not getting that at home, you're not getting it from family. You're not, like, where else are you going to get it? And
all you can do is get it from yourself.
Get it from yourself. And the thing with food is you're around food all the time. So the amount of transactions mentally that go through day after day after day, it's just something that it's easy to fall into. It's really easy to fall into.
Well, and you see it in public on TV and in billboards and everything. They're always advertising food constantly. And now I look at those foods and I'm going, that stuff's not healthy for you. It's really not. But it's what they put out for the public. It's to promote their products and to make the sales, and it works for a good percentage of the population. But that's why so many people are not healthy too. They're eating these things that are not healthy for them.
Well, then you flash forward and you did some bodybuilding competitions, and I think that's where you probably got really bit by the bug, so to speak, of this. Like, what was your journey like for that first competition?
When I had the newbie gains at the gym, and people were the ones that told me, you should compete. You look really great. You look great. And actually, so many people told me that. I was like, okay, all right, so we'll get into a competition. So Ryan helped me with getting my food plan under control so that I would be getting ready for the competition. And the first one was, it was a little scary. Putting on this flimsy little bikini and getting up on stage in front of people with practically no clothes on. It was like, yeah, it was, but then again, I was backstage with a bunch of girls that were all younger than me, and they all encouraged me, and they said, you look great for your age. And it was a very positive push to get me out there. And I did it. I messed up a little bit on my, you do the physique, you have to do a routine afterwards. Mm-hmm. And actually the routine probably went better than the posing. But I placed, I was, the oldest there. So I did 3 different categories, and I managed to place all 3 times. And it was like, everybody cheered me on in the audience, and it was great. They thought it was wonderful. And it made me feel so good that I wasn't even worried about my appearance anymore, that I went into the second competitions like in the fall of that year, the same time. And I wanted to do it the second time, and I did much, much better. Yeah. And I was really impressed with myself and really happy that I did it.
Yeah, it's an interesting process to watch and to see how you just how you can change the body. And it's fascinating, and it's liberating in so many ways, because you feel like, for years and years you've been sort of trapped in a body that you thought was just you. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I can do this, and I can do this at this age. Like, this is an incredible feeling. And I think that the amount of like neurochemical changes that must have happened just to be able to see like, oh my gosh, the blinders are off. Like, there's this whole new horizon that I can look at.
Not only that, but it helped build my self-confidence, which is an issue I had all my life. Being self-confident and being conscious of my appearance and being so, like, what do I look like? And I was so shy about it, but getting up on a stage and doing that was, what a switch. Yeah. It really built my self-confidence up a lot.
And being physically strong, because I feel like one of the things that I struggle with in the fitness industry, that I've struggled with, is, yes, there can be an emphasis on body composition so much. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can be, if it's done irresponsibly, that can be mentally challenging. But you put so much emphasis just on being strong, right? Just be strong and push hard. And that's something that I've had to learn, as I get closer to 40, is like thinking like
40. Oh my gosh, you're a baby.
I'm 36. I'm not even 40, but I'm just like, as I get older, things are becoming more clear that this is more about, how do I empower myself to be strong and do this for a long time? And it's the body composition comes second to that. It's really about having that strength. And I think that's where you empower a lot of people. If we switch over to kind of the Instagram side, I'm kind of curious, what was your first post that really went viral? Like when did it take off? Was there a particular moment you remember where all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Like, this isn't just like posting a random video. This is like something took off, because you've got some great little nuggets of information that are out there and just good inspirational posts. But was there one in particular where it was like, you know what, we got to focus on this?
It was on TikTok, and it was after my first competition, and it was, my mueslis are getting bigger. And that went super viral. It was so funny, and it went crazy, and then things just took off after that. Yeah. It was, yeah. And that's what started it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Just took one good viral post.
One good viral, and it was on TikTok, and it was, my mueslis are getting bigger. And I was doing rows on the rowing machine, and I was doing back and curls, and it went viral. And people were blown away, and it just took off from there.
What did that feel like for you? Like,
I couldn't believe it. I was like,
do you even
really?
know did you even know what like viral was? You're like, what is this? Like
No.
Ryan's probably saying it's
No.
going viral, Gran. It's
Yeah,
going
I
viral.
didn't know.
You're like, I don't know what that means, but
No, I didn't. But when I saw the numbers, I'm like, really? Wow. I was like, I was impressed. I was shocked, actually, that people were going crazy over me just exercising in the gym, doing what I enjoyed.
And probably from a lifetime of feeling rather suppressed and feeling, you know, like you've never really had an opportunity to shine the way that you wanted to shine, and to feel like, wow, like people listen to me, people are inspired by me. That's a huge lift in confidence for you. That's to rise from the ashes out of just like probably feeling I'm never good enough, you know, I wasn't good enough, which is such a real feeling that I don't think people come to grips with. That it's just like, okay, if these feelings of being unlovable or being unworthy and feeling, you know,
You're right.
that plagues people for their entire lives, or they're trying to appease their parents who are possibly even long dead, right? It's like you're still trying to prove something to your parents, or trying to prove that you're lovable or that you're worthy.
Or you're trying to prove it to yourself.
Prove it to yourself.
You're trying to prove it to yourself.
Yeah. And sometimes it's, you know, you'll go a lifetime without ever getting the accolades that you deserve, because we live in a world where that just doesn't really happen too much, right? There's not like sincere gratitude. And I feel like at least that's what social media did for me too, you know, because I came from a world where that was, I don't know, I wasn't anything special, you know, and it was nice to be like, wow, people actually want to listen to me.
Acknowledged,
like this is cool. Like I'm doing something. So it's like the boat of confidence. Yes, there is an egoic aspect to it, but it's a healthy egoic aspect, a healthy ego that comes with it. Be like, yeah, okay, cool. This is part of who I am. And yes, I can help people with it. And
that's the best part, being able to help people.
Yeah.
Because I've worked in a service industry when I had jobs all my life. And I was always, quote, helping people in one way or another. And this way, I can go back and take my life experiences and say, hey, look, you can get through this. I was in a women's shelter. You can get through this. You can get past this. You don't have to deal with an abusive marriage. You don't have to have an eating disorder. You have to learn how to eat. You can do better and improve and make yourself feel better about yourself and be a better person. Yeah. It is a progression.
You're one of my favorite posts from you ever was like something that was so simple. And I think it was you're going to have bad days. Mm-hmm. You're going to have good days. You're going to have days where you don't want to do it. And you got to do it anyway. And, it's funny because it's faded now, but it's like the tattoo that I have on my arm is from an old Nike ad that says, money doesn't wait atop the hill. Glory doesn't wait atop the hill. All that waits atop the hill is the top of the hill. And it was essentially meaning, like, just do it, right? Those Nike slogans.
Climb
like,
that hill.
Just do it. Like you're going to have days. You're going to have and I think that post of yours went pretty viral, but it was, that's one of my favorites from you, because it's just, sometimes they're just feelings and they're just telling you something and you still got to do it anyway. And your message is so powerful with that, and how you iterate that in different ways.
It's so true for me. I have days where I get out of bed in the morning and I'm like, I don't feel like moving. Things are stiff. I mean, I am older, so I do get stiff joints. Things hurt sometimes. I don't feel energetic sometimes, but I still go downstairs and do my abs every morning. And getting the body moving and the blood flowing and the oxygen going, it loosens up those joints, and I feel better. It's only 10 minutes of doing abs, and then I do a little ab roll out ball, the ab roll thing. I do that too. Like 200 sets of them, 200 of them, just to get, that helps loosen up my back. Yeah. But by the time I'm done, I feel better. Yeah. And even, I feel like I have a little bit more energy. My body doesn't feel so stiff, and I'm like mentally, okay, let's get the day going. Yeah. And sometimes even going to the gym, I may not feel quite up to par, but after I get up there on that elliptical and I get warmed up, I'm ready to roll. So, the blood flow and the oxygen flow and all that helps to get you mentally able to do it and gives you some energy.
Yeah, and it's and I think people spend a little too much time maybe just dwelling on their emotion and how they feel that day, right?
Don't dwell on it. Get past it.
It's just a wave in the ocean, right? It's just another
It's just this little hurdle to get over mentally. And once you get over it mentally, you can do anything you want.
aside from just doing it and just getting out there and doing it, do you have any words of wisdom for people that are in a slump, people that are, they're having a hard time getting their head right to either get started or just, they're in a slump and they can't get into the gym, or they can't seem to just nail their diet right. They're just having a hard time getting through that. Any words of wisdom there?
Start something. I mean, like I said, I started at home in the privacy of my living room. You can do minimal workouts. You can do weights with cans of vegetables and things like that in your home if you're a little self-conscious about going to the gym. Watch what you eat. Start writing it down. I still log my food every day. I do it. It's become a habit. I log everything I eat. I check my macros, my carbs, my sugar, and I watch my sugar because sugar does not work with me. I always watch my protein and my fats, calories. And the calories aren't so much as the macros. I mean, the carbs, the sugar, the protein, and the fats. You got to get your protein in for your muscles, for your energy. Carbs are good for energy, yeah. To each his own. Everything's different for everybody. Me, not so much the carbs. Protein is my key thing. It gives me the energy I need when I have to have it. But if they start and do something, I mean, even taking a walk every day, that helps with longevity, helps with your heart, helps with your lungs, respiratory, even for older people. And once you do so much at home, I mean, if you think you want to go to the gym, go do your own thing. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Don't compare yourself to other people, because you're there for you. You're not there for anybody else. It's not a competition. It's not a comparison thing. You're there to get better for yourself. And that's the whole object of the exercise. Eating properly and doing a little bit of exercise. And if you can progress and get better, by all means do it, because the stronger you get, the better you're going to feel. Not only physically, but your mind is going to be like, oh, look, I can do this. And then you're going to want to do more. And that's happened with me. I mean, I can go look back and say, this is what has happened to me. This is how I started. I started out with really light weights. I couldn't do it. But after a period of time, slow progression, building up the weights and getting stronger and stronger, it makes me feel great. Mm-hmm. And it's still a competition with myself to get a little bit more, do a little bit more, to get a little bit stronger.
I think that you hit it right there. I think comparison is the destroyer of so much.
That's not what it's about. You're there for yourself and to get better and to feel better. That's the object of the exercise.
And the bottom line is, at the gym, most people are so focused on what they see in the mirror themselves, they're not worried about what you're doing anyway. They're just focusing on themselves.
Don't look in the mirror.
Yeah. They're just, well, I just mean that the other people in the gym, they're most of the time not worried about you, and sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it feels like you walk into a gym and all of a sudden you're in an auditorium of people looking at you. If you're new to the gym, it's scary, right?
Right, but when you're in between sets, I mean, we all do it. We all look around the gym when we're in between a set. So, I mean, it's not like we're looking to criticize somebody. We're just looking because we're waiting. We're taking our rest between sets. Yeah. What else are you going to look at? You're not going to. You're going to look at people.
Well, and some people certainly try to be spectacles, so they're fun to watch. But
True. But I don't pay any attention to them.
No, because you're giving them what they want there. But I think they're not there to criticize as much people might think they are. And it's, you walk into a gym and, just.
When you're new to it, you think that, because you don't know what to expect. Yeah. But after you do it for a while and you're around those people all the time, they're doing their own thing, you're doing your own thing, and that's what it's all about. Yeah. Self-improvement. That's what it's for.
Yeah. Well, lastly, Granny, what's next for you? What are you aiming for next? You got another competition coming up. What are you working towards?
Hopefully, next year. I did injure this shoulder and this bicep, and they're still in the healing process, and they're doing well. actually, at the end of this month, we had talked to a trainer that I was dealing with in New Jersey and told him that I was going to start my strength training for the competition beginning the end of the month, or beginning of November. So that is going to be my goal in the spring, to try to get into another competition and try to get my IFBB Pro card.
Heck yeah.
At a master's level, of course, because I'm older, but that's the goal.
That would be amazing.
That would be. I want to compete one more time, and I want to try to get the pro card.
No, I'm with you, as you should. Yeah. Well, Gran, thank you so much. And where can everyone find you online?
GrannyGuns.net.
Easy.
Just look up Granny Guns. You can't miss it.
Perfect. And your Granny Guns on Instagram.
On Instagram, TikTok, and even YouTube.
Perfect. Thanks, Gran.
Thank you.